Gaming is an intensely personal hobby, and while there are games that a lot of people will look at and say, yep, that was one of my favorites from when they were a kid, there are certain games that each of us have in our past experiences that define us as gamers. Here are 5 of mine from the NES. When I was 10 years old, superheroes were everything to me. And there was a librarian at the Fall River Public Library that saw that and decided to introduce me to Greek mythology. I was in love. And as a mythology-loving 10-year-old, the Battle of Olympus was so much in my wheelhouse, there wasn't a question of whether or not I'd love the game, but rather how much I would love it. When you combine the gameplay that was reminiscent of Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, it was a match made in heaven. Essentially, this game was a side-scrolling action game with some RPG elements, and it took you all over ancient Greece, fighting classic monsters, interacting with gods and goddesses, and collecting ancient relics to build your hero up to proportions reflecting the greats like Jason, Achilles, and Hercules. This game was big, bold, and beautiful, and a ton of fun. The music was great. There were phenomenal items in the game that allowed you to have all these amazing powers, and honestly, it was just really well done. It's a game that doesn't get appreciated much, but to me, it was huge. Now, when I'd get home from school every day, the Disney afternoon was my life. I loved everything from Gummy Bears to Tailspin to Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers. But the big dog, okay, well, not dog, but the big duck on campus was, of course, Ducktales. This combined classic Disney characters with a swashbuckling Indiana Jones-esque adventure every single episode, and that certainly didn't hurt my love of the show. And the game and its sequel that Capcom released were amazing. This was really true to the source material. There was a ton of just beautiful animation and sprite work, and it saw you take on the role of Scrooge McDuck, trekking all over the world and beyond in search of treasure. Along the way, you'd fight the Beagle Boys, Magica Dispel, and other classic Ducktale villains as you'd pogo hop, golf swing, and treasure hunt your way to victory. The remaster version of this game is great if you can get your hands on it, but to me, there's something charming about the original version that Capcom released. Now, as much as I loved Ducktales, G.I. Joe was the one that got me out of bed in the morning. See, up in Massachusetts, every morning at 6 and 6:30, Sergeant Slaughter would introduce the upcoming episodes, and I would dive into a world of counterterrorism and terrible shooting accuracy as I stuffed my face full of Nintendo Power cereal. I collected the comics, I collected the toys, and I collected the games. Now, sure, by today's standards, G.I. Joe games might not be much to write home about, but to me then, and to a degree now, they're still a ton of fun to play. You can lose yourself in this interesting interpretation of the G.I. Joe universe. The game was fun. It allowed you to construct your own personal G.I. Joe squad from amongst several characters. Don't sleep on Blizzard. Trust me on this. And it sent you out into the world to take down the fearsome threat of Cobra. Now, while I wish there were more characters to choose from, this first game was great. Lots of fun, really worth checking out. Mega Man 2, to this day, holds the record easily for the game that I have beaten the most times in my life. I have played this game in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s. I had never played the original when it released, and I remember going to our video store in Westport, Massachusetts to rent Blades of Steel, but it wasn't available. So I took a shot on Mega Man 2. Wasn't in love with the cover art, but I wanted to get something that week. Getting home, I was immediately transfixed, and I spent the better part of the week that summer playing the game for hours on end. To this day, I still love everything about this game, and the music from the Airman stage still finds its way to the front of my mind at least once or twice a month. It was the perfect blend of difficulty, gameplay, and style, and it's a game I think of when I think of the perfect 2D platforming adventure. As influential as Mega Man 2 is and was, Startropics was even more so. This is the first game I ever called a Nintendo Game Counselor for the stupid Ghost Boss, and one of my absolute favorite experiences and memories as a kid was dipping the letter from your uncle that was attached to the instruction manual in water to reveal the secret code. The game was simply perfect to me. There was amazing overworld and RPG-style interactions with islanders, isometric action levels as you progressed, crazy aliens, a talking dolphin, a robot assistant on the submarine. I fell in love with Startropics the first time I played it, and it was a game I featured in one of my first pieces of writing that I ever had published. There are definitely more influential games out there on the NES, but personally, I am hard-pressed to find many more impactful than Startropics. There you have it, guys. 5 games from my childhood that influenced me then and influence me today. Games that defined me as a gamer from my childhood on my first personal console, the NES. What was the first console you ever owned? And what were the 5 games that defined you? We're going to go back and look at some other consoles as we go, but I just wanted to do something quick and light since it's been, you know, a million years since I've uploaded anything for you guys to enjoy. I hope you like this video. If so, please do like and subscribe. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what we can do better. And until next time, guys, do more of what you love, play more games, and I'll see you soon.